do. I mean, there's a difference between being an opinionated columnist and being a journalist. In the gaming industry, you're not really like seeking the truth, getting the real answers. Not a lot of that really exists. Not in the way that people want it to exist. And that's when people always come to us like, no, you guys are journalists. Like, no, we're not. We're more like The Daily Show, where we extrapolate the data that's already out there and we form an opinion around it. And that's really all it is.
Make fun of it.
And we always we're always tongue in cheek because we're like, we understand that this is a hobby and you should always kind of look at it as, you know what, this isn't the most serious thing in the world. Just saying, always kind of have some perspective on what gaming is.
And also, like an actual journalist, if a real journalist worked in video games, they would be unemployed instantly. Because what real journalists do is ruin lives. Like they go to bars, they get people drunk, and they learn secrets, and then they publish it. Yeah. And if you do that in the games industry, where none of this stuff really matters, and you get somebody fired from their job because you posted there would be 9 levels in the Call of Duty instead of 12, you will never get invited to anything. No one will ever talk to you. Yeah. When you walk in the room, everyone turns around. And it just, because everyone understands that, like, that's stuff that people don't need to know. And you kind of ruined somebody's year because you felt this obligation to people on the internet. Like, it just doesn't work that way. Like Adam was saying, games journalists are just critics and column writers.
Right.
And that's fine. That's fine. Stop using the wrong word to describe what they do.
Sorry, we got
Yeah, we have to move on.
Sorry.
We're really late.
So, don't get your panties in a bunch about games journalism. Wear me undies instead.
Hey, I'm doing that right now.
Should I take my pants down?
All right.
Everybody drop your trousers.
God damn it, this is just me shilling.
All right.
So, we picked up...
Journalists, everyone.
Yeah, we picked up a real... Oh, my God. We picked up a wonderful sponsor this week. MeUndies. They sent us some
I got the
samples.
way better pattern.
Oh, it's like Marty on your ass.
Whoa.
So,
I don't want to look.
so enjoy the view courtesy of MeUndies.
Oh, God.
You missed it.
Our sampler pack actually arrived just yesterday, so we've been wearing these bad boys for about 12 hours now.
You know why? Because we wanted to be informed users of it, so that way we're not saying this underwear is awesome without having had it brushed all against our testicles.
And let me say, my testicles feel wonderful.
I like it.
Yeah, I've been a boxer guy for a while. I had my boxer brief days. These are very solidly in the boxer brief category. But you know what? When I was wearing boxer briefs, I liked the containment, but I didn't like the seams of fabric that were always visible. Panty lines, if you will. These are so sheer and so aerodynamic. But there's not things I have to worry about.
Well, I go to the gym on my lunch.
Right.
So I need a pair of boxers that are going to be able to handle sitting at the desk, riding on my way to work, and also getting in a little exercise. So that's what these kind of... Yeah.
Did you sweat? You sweat in those earlier?
Yeah,
Didn't
I broke
you
a little
change?
sweat.
Didn't
I
you
broke a little
change?
sweat, and I was
That's kinda
doing some lunges.
That's kind of gross.
They're very
Is there wicking action?
I gave them work. So, sorry. We shared a room in London.
Yeah.
And at one point, Lawrence just dropped his jeans down and he goes, "This is my German underwear." he's like, not what I'm used to, but I think I like it. How do you think this compares to your German underwear?
I like these better.
Wow, those are the German underwear.
The German underwears were brief. You know,
Oh, they most certainly were.
They were riding very high. I hope there wasn't any peeking going on.
I'm sure there was. I didn't look too hard.
But no, these are delightful. It's like I was walking around the apartment last night. I felt like I was cruising around on a cloud. Nice breeze circulating through.
Wandered through in his underwear. I was like, oh, hey.
And unlike boxers, you don't have the constant problem of your little flap falling open, your little guy popping off for no reason.
I'm too old for that. I ain't got no time.
I got no time.
I'm a guy. My shriveled, disgusting penis doesn't need to be seen by anyone.
James, we're getting to your penis. God.
Yeah, okay, so MeUndies, they actually even have a sponsor URL for us. If you go to meundies.com/inside, you'll get 20% off your first order, which is to US and Canada.
We should just make that our new homepage.
MeUndies.com?
Yet again, that's MeUndies, MEUNDIES.com/INSIDE. 20% off your first order, shipping to US and Canada. Treat your junk right. Wear MeUndies today. Good tagline. All right, let's look at some fan art.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Damn it!
Adam's about to get ruined by this animal.
Hold on.
Please, calm down.
Mash
Just
it.
calm down, Adam.
How's that choke you?
Does he shove a newspaper in your mouth?
Hey, you got him.
That part of semen.
That was a lot of semen in that robot.
All right, let's fan art.
Fan art.
Fart, fart,
Fart, fart, fart,
fart, fart, fart, fart, fart.
Is that not letting? Oh, you. Okay. Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Ready user Blackheart 13. You guys are the Three Amigos, which is maybe the short.
This is still a film I have never seen.
Three Amigos? Oh,
I
that's great.
haven't seen it.
I'm
Oh,
behind.
it's so good.
I hadn't seen Quantum of Solace and I hadn't seen Speed Racer. I have rectified both those issues
Three Amigos is
with the
not
flight.
Three.
I don't know. It has funny parts.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
I'll watch it. I like
Guys, I wish I never made
Steve
this
Morton.
If you imagine going back in time and watching it when you're 12 years old, and it will be amazing if you put yourself in that mindset.
I did it for Speed Racer and it was great.
And Reddit user The Oscar J drew us some South Park characters.
I really like this one. I like that.
I just like a little attention to detail.
Am I the one without any clothes on?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I was gonna say I look high, but I guess I'm. What?
Oh yeah, why are you a ginger? Yeah,
I don't know. It's not really clear what color your hair is.
It doesn't matter. You're stoned. It's
Putting
great.
it into the universe.
Lawrence.
In that universe, you would be.
Yeah, I'm
would you
depressed
rather be
back there with
Butters?
my Wii.
You're like a nerdy greaser. It's
Why
great.
is?
I actually like Lawrence's a lot.
But why is Joel the pretty anime character? That's Joel, right?
I think beautiful.
It's self-evident.
Joel's
Yeah.
pretty.
he has the beadiest of eyes.
No, he doesn't.
I've got.
Look how bright those eyes
Hey,
are.
I'm twinkling.
If anything, I think they got the eyes mixed up with James. That's all.
No.
All right.
And then he's wearing a Che Guevara shirt, even though he's wearing the actual
I
orange shirt.
like the derpy machinima flag though. Just like
People do a good job of drawing this thing.
The gorilla.
And Reddit user ASLDP, metal.
I love this. It's so cool.
next shirt design.
Oh man.
Yeah, that should be a
t-shirt,
shirt design.
t-shirt design or a banner for sure.
Fuck yeah.
I love it.
Reddit user Potabite, Bruce all his Minecraft characters.
Minecraft.
See, got my shirt right.
Minecraft.
I like it. See?
I like how Bruce has a little Minecraft.
All our
part.
shirts.
Oh yeah, I'm farting. That's right.
That's perfect. Yeah. I
I'm
actually.
still stumpy and short.
So today we had a somewhat serious phone call meeting, and Bruce farted in the middle of it.
Well, hold on. Joel
Right
farted
after-
twice
I farted twice.
before I farted.
And then Bruce got on the ground with the candle I had lit to disperse the snow of my fart.
Yep.
I have a picture of that. I'll give it to you.
Farted into the candle to try and get a blue flame. But
Either way, this image immediately popped in my mind of just the poofy ball.
It's because that caricature of Bruce doesn't even realize he's farted just then. He won't put down the middle. It's like,
Bruce
oh,
never knows.
If I know one thing about Bruce, it's that he is constantly aware of what's coming in and out of his ass.
No, it's always a surprise. He's always like,
This is
"Whoa!"
on the
I heard it.
Ew.
He's like,
You guys are
"Spool,
gross.
watch out!"
Exit only. Exit only.
James, they nailed your shirt. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got the gorilla for
You know,
sure.
this shirt I bought at like an art fest.
For strawberry blam blams. Wait,
Big Island pineapple. Lawrence.
we're recording, right?
Yeah.
All right, let me get through this. Welcome to the Inside Gaming Podcast for October 2nd, 2014, episode number 27. This episode of the Inside Gaming Podcast is brought to you by NatureBox, which the two gentlemen behind me are enjoying thoroughly.
Big Island pineapple.
Big Island pineapple, really? Oh, okay. Whoa, this is like actually a ring of pineapple.
Turns out they use actual pineapples over at Nature Box.
Holy crap, that's really good. Makes you go,
All right. Where are we going here?
NatureBox is giving you the opportunity to get 5 of its best snacks for free. Try next time. With a good pineapple. To start your free trial, go to naturebox.com/inside and get a sampler pack featuring 5 of their most popular snacks. NatureBox asks for you to stay full, stay strong, and go to naturebox.com/inside to get a free sampler box and subscribe to NatureBox today.
Yeah.
Get yourself a Glamberry pop switch.
Glamberry Glam Blue James.
It's just a race to see how many times you can say jam. Make sure to try NatureBox's Jam Jammers. It's great when you want to jam.
Oh, on the podcast, I can't eat that. I'm going to.
Here, give me the controller.
All right. Well, yeah. I was just going to do a challenge since
You haven't played it yet.
I guess you could do
I'm
story.
actually really excited.
This is actually a pretty complicated game.
I'll put this over your head.
Actually, you can start the story if you want. I think our viewers won't mind a little
Is this a challenge?
spoiler action. When just hit B, go to story mode. You can learn about the Wizard of Draenor or whatever. So on the subject of wizards, people got mad about Destiny this week.
Oh, they're
I know
mad about Destiny.
Very uncommon.
Get it. They're mad about Destiny every week.
Why are they mad about Destiny?
Let me tell you, James. Due to a glitch in the game, people were able to find a list of missions and strike mission descriptions that weren't in the game yet. So basically, like, people are like, oh, we stumbled upon some DLC that isn't out yet, which is true. That was later confirmed by Deej over at Bungie. He said they have activity names which may or may not change, and we have a really good idea what they're going to contain. They even have placeholder names in the directories you've already noticed. So it's basically like, yeah, this is content we're working on. But what made people angry is the notion that they could find this stuff without the content actually being pushed out yet. So the DLC's not ready.
Oh, like they already made it. They just decided not to release all of it all at once and instead make you pay.
That's what people assumed, because I think back in the day, Street Fighter Cross Tekken had some DLC characters that actually shipped with the game. And when you bought the DLC, all you did was download a really small unlock file that entitled you to play these characters. So this whole thing has kind of dredged up the idea that Destiny had more content that they intentionally withheld, just so they could trickle it out over time and keep people interested and charge people for more content.
Those bastards!
Essentially, yes. So I guess what I find really fascinating about this is the way that people define value when it relates to a video game. And Destiny has been really fascinating about this because by all accounts it has as much, if not more, content as any other shooter. If you play through all the story missions, you could argue that's your first-person Call of Duty mode. The Crucible is your multiplayer shooter aspect of it. And just because it has some MMO aspects to it, people start to compare it to other MMOs and say, well, it doesn't have enough content because World of Warcraft has more quests, something like that. So just based on that, and then when people get mad about DLC, I think the implication is always, Bungie made all this stuff and they could have given it to us right away, but they decided not to because they want to choke us out of money.
Well, here's the problem with this discussion in general, is that we already know where we all fall.
Yeah, you're right.
So, somebody should play devil's advocate. Who wants to?
Devil's advocate. Okay.
Meaning, you're upset about the fact that they didn't give you all the DLC all at once. And, like you were saying, Lawrence, every game does it. Like, every single game does it. Like, the game knows where it's going to go, knows it's going to charge you for DLC, and maybe even puts little hints of it in the game, but just doesn't release it all at once. So, be mad about it.
It's hard to be mad about it if you are. It's hard to be mad about it if you're not like a 15 or 16-year-old who is in a community who's also mad about it all the time and who is pissed off because you spent $60 on a game that in your head thought was going to be better than it turned out to be. I don't know. I think it's hard to play devil's advocate. I can try.
I think I can do it.
Okay.
Of course. Basically, I remember not having a job, and I remember really liking video games. And I remember more than anything, the amount of time I could continue playing a single game was paramount. Because I would get games once a year during Christmas. And even then it would be like 2 or 3. So I had to make my choices very, very wisely, which I often did not. But I can imagine, like, if Destiny's the only game I play, I would be out of stuff to do by now. And I can, even though it's not logical to me, after spending 20 years playing games, I can imagine being upset at the notion that there's more stuff they could have included but chose not to, just because they want to manipulate me as the consumer. Basically, it's the notion that the people making this product don't care.
Final blow!
So what's happening here? Get me out of here.
Don't care.
Yeah. So, yes, when you are only allotted X number of games, you want to get the absolute most you can out of that game. When you find out that there's more there that you could have had but didn't have.
But hold on, Ricky.
What?
How many hours of Destiny have you played? 65 hours in the last 3 weeks, right?
But he is an outlier. He started playing it, he enjoyed it, and he's like, this is totally what I like. I'm going to pursue it further. There are people who have played it, they hate it. My biggest problem is
but also the fact of the matter is,
I think you ended right when you were just like, this isn't the climax. How did you think this was the climax? So I can see how that's frustrating, but I don't.
But Brutal Legend, did it have like this rich multiplayer experience? And
No,
did it have like, you know, a bunch of different side quests?
It certainly didn't have extra stuff. Like, once the game was over, you could go back and meander around the world, same as GTA.
Right.
Yeah.
You know? But, like, it wasn't that interesting of a world, and you basically saw everything just playing through the course of the game in general.
Yeah.
There was a multiplayer, but no one played it, and no one wanted to play it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I guess you could be frustrated either way. I didn't start a campaign
Yeah.
to get my money back for Brutal Legend.
Right.
And I wasn't so pissed off, and I'm still like, Brutal Legend was really, really fun, but I wish that it had lasted more. It's like, I don't understand why people are so vehemently angry about it.
Well, because one of the things I was talking about this lunch is that Destiny does not give you any hints as to what the game is about. So, and I get that. That doesn't necessarily bother me if I enjoy playing the game, and our example was Halo, the original Halo.
Yeah.
It was like, same Bungie game. I didn't know what the fuck was going on in that game when I first started playing. Like, I was like, but it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, I was just shoot the Covenant.
Yeah.
I was like, shoot these aliens. I was like, all right, fine, I'll shoot the aliens. Like, I was having fun. But I had no, and like, as the game went on, I was like, huh. Like, wonder what Master Chief's story is about. Like, I wonder who's this faceless guy that like has to fight the flood and all this other bullshit. I didn't know. I played that game a ton of times, still didn't know what was going on.
Oh, yeah.
So, but that didn't bother me. It wasn't like I didn't expect a movie out of it.
That's another one of my big problems with. I don't want this just to be ranting about people that don't like Destiny, because I'm perfectly fine with
There's a lot of people that
Yeah.
don't like Destiny right
You're
now.
not allowed to like what you don't
But
like.
it's almost as though it's been built up in their head where Halo is this franchise, right?
Right.
Halo is this big thing with this deep, rich story, but they don't realize that that story didn't even really start to resemble a story until about Halo 3.
Yeah.
Like, Bungie made a game that came out for the Xbox, which was basically game mechanics, right? Shooting mechanics
That were like second to none.
that were second to none,
Yeah.
with some sort of linear path through the game, which occasionally allowed you to branch out
Right.
and just explore, but that was it. And then there was some sort of implied story, like with a very vaguely motivated hero.
Yeah.
Like, it was go there, shoot that.
Right.
That was basically it. So it's weird that people are upset with Destiny for basically being a new Halo. It had, everyone goes,
Exactly
hey,
what it is,
the shooting mechanics are great. Love the shooting mechanics.
Yeah.
It's super fun to get out there and kill stuff, but I don't even know what's going on in the story.
Yeah.
It ends really abruptly without resolving everything, and like the main hero is vague and like we don't know what his motivations are. Like,
Same exact thing.
it's basically identical to what Halo was, and I'm not saying you should be allowed to do the same thing over. Like, Bungie is like, fuck it, we did it with Halo, we can get away with it now. I'm not saying that's the case, but people are upset with the game, not even realizing that they should have been upset with Halo if they're so upset with this.
Well, Lawrence, you made a good point. Lawrence, you tell about the story-based game.
Sure. Well, you know, this is a whole other topic that I don't want to spend too much time on.
Yeah, but still hit it though.
But I don't know. To me, and I think James and I have basically talked about this at length. But to me, a linear story is the opposite of what a game should be. Like, the strength of the medium is interactivity and gameplay. And some people will disagree with that, but personally, I think they're actually fundamentally wrong. And this was actually Roger Ebert's point way back in the day when he said games can't be art. He was a little misdirected. He basically meant games can't tell a good story. Because if it's a game, then it can't very well tell a narrative. It can create an experience, and then you can make a story out of that, which is like kind of the point of reference I always make is like Doom. Doom doesn't have a story. I mean, it does. You're John Space Marine and you're killing stupid zombies, but nobody ever says like, wait. Why am I shooting the demons? Where are the demons coming from? None of that matters, because it's a fun game. Because it got something very right about playing the game and experiencing the game. And I feel like that's what Destiny does.
Now, that said though, games can have good stories.
They can.
They can,
They
yeah.
can. They're just not nearly as, kind of few and far between compared to movies.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have good gameplay in a game.
Yeah.
Well, what occurs to me about that is games can have good stories, and people will remember them fondly. It's like BioShock. Has a pretty good story, a good twist, but the strength of games is creating individual moments that you know are resulting in the gameplay. So like Battlefield. You can tell the story about how you were in a plane and you almost shot this guy down, but you had to bail out, and you rocketed him in midair, parachuted down, landed on a point, like sniped 3 guys. Like, that is a really cool story, but it is a story of the gameplay, not of a cutscene that you saw the same as everyone else. It's a mashing of medium. Like, if you went to a movie and the screen was black and you heard an hour's worth of music, you wouldn't walk out being like, wow, that was a very cool mishmash of medium. You'd be like, no, that person should have put out an album.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Or if you went to a movie and it was just silent words scrolling up the screen, you wouldn't be like, they're trying to hybridize movies and books. No, you'd say, this is dumb. I could have just bought a book.
Yeah.
So in the same way, when like a game has cutscenes smashed into it, that's fine. Like, movies are cool and games are cool, so I don't mind doing both. But to say that like a story is pivotal for a game is kind of dumb. Well, dumb's not right. Like, if your taste is you like story, then that's fine. But to say that that's what games should be is wrong.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of the...
Marine talking to his holographic lady.
We've also mentioned this before, but games are now finally, and I think mobile started it, and the first mainstream game to really push it, I think, was Titanfall, where they were like, fuck you if you don't have an online version.
Yeah,
This game isn't for you.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that, because we do live in an age where you can... Everyone is online, right? Almost everyone is online, and if you're not online, your priorities are not probably with playing Titanfall. I am excited by the prospect of there being more to Destiny. Because I want them to do like I think we were talking about it this weekend. Rock Band was super exciting for me. Every single Tuesday it was like, what's the next, like, I like going to a place for a game and then looking up and saying, what is coming for this game next? Because it's like a continued experience. So if this DLC is what they have to do, so that way they can have this special event happen this week and like make it a big thing, I'm totally down with that. That's kind of a fun way to keep it exciting. I don't necessarily want to have access to everything all the time, but that's just my personal opinion.
All right, let's pick up now. This is awesome. Again, the DLC thing happens in every single game. That doesn't make it right, but it happens in every single game. And I mean, you guys are crazy if you didn't think Destiny was going to have a Destiny 2 or a Destiny 3 or a Destiny 4. Like, they've planned an entire... They've been working on this game for 10 years. Like, they know that this is a franchise, and they know that this is going to be something that, even if people didn't like the game at the outset or whatever, it's going to be just like Assassin's Creed, where a lot of people played Assassin's Creed, thought it was cool and different and sort of new, but they were like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, we're looking forward to Assassin's Creed 2. It's the same with Watch Dogs. Like, we're looking forward to Watch Dogs 2. I think Destiny is a good foundation for a game. I totally think it's worth the $60 because of multiplayer on the side quest. I mean, it's a fucking MMO, so you don't have to pay monthly to play. So I think that's. I think in terms of value add, I think that's a great way to start off a new console is with a game like Destiny. But that's just me. So.
I think, I think it's really just... this happens with every new MMO, because I play a lot of MMOs. I actually really like them, especially the end game. I was just talking with Ricky about Vault of Glass. That is a straight up MMO raid. Right. Like with the mechanics and everything, and that's kind of what I was hoping Destiny would be, so cool. But in every single MMO, within the first week, there is the crew that already hit level cap, and they're in general chat saying, this game sucks, there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
Every MMO's like that. So I think what I'm learning like more and more is that the gaming crowd is insatiable.
Oh, of course.
You can't give them enough games or enough content, enough anything. They'll always ask for more. And granted, I'm not trying to dismiss complaints that people have towards Destiny. I'm just saying in general, it does amaze me that there's no one thing where everybody's like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted to make. I guess that's just
except for Shadow of Mordor.
the way of the world. Well, and Shadow of Mordor is an interesting case, and I feel like this gnarly. I feel like this gets into maybe expectation management because Bungie did.
I know.
Where is he? Tell me where he is. Oh, hey, bro.
Bungie, I would say, did a very you could argue a good job or maybe a terrible job of marketing Destiny, depending on how you see it. Personally, I think they did a bad job managing expectations.
Sure.
Because, like James was saying, they spoke very flowery about Destiny. Oh shit! Oh man!
Dick.
But they never said this is what Destiny is, and this is how we think it'll be fun. I had to figure that out by playing it, which in its own way was interesting. And kind of a unique. Whoa! God, you fucked him up.
You say they're a victim of their own hype?
No, because I don't think they hyped
That's
anything.
my thing too. I think we hyped it. I mean,
Yeah.
not us specifically. We probably did, but
I think Spool's right. I think that Spool's right because they marketed it so much and talked about this game so much that everybody got all hyped up about it. And now they're like, this wasn't everything to everyone. Wait a minute, you know, like, which I guess again maybe it's just because we're older and we played more games, but we didn't have those expectations for this game. Like, I didn't think that it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like Borderlands, but with better graphics. And a lot of people have called it that.
But with really good PvP.
But with Rehab, it was really good PvP.
And like
didn't have that.
And dungeons and raids. Like Borderlands has those things to a degree, but they're not as well made. Like a strike mission in Destiny, it's actually really cool. It's like a dungeon run in any MMO, except like the moment-to-moment action is actually really fun instead of just following your party and hitting your attackers.
Right.
So it's, I guess for me, as somebody who's played MMO since the Realm, it's fascinating to have something with the like long-term engagement of an MMO, but the second-to-second fun of something like Halo. Like to me, that's awesome.
Well, I was one of the few people that played the Old Republic, and I really liked that the Old Republic had a single-player story that I could play through when I wasn't playing with my friends. Because a lot of people were not playing Old Republic, so I didn't have any friends playing it. So instead, I was just like, fuck that, I'll go through the single player, and then if somebody wants me for a raid or whatever, then I'll be there. And I have a feeling that that's what's going to be when I start playing Destiny, since I'm playing so late. I've only played a few hours of it.
I'll bring it.
Oh, thank you.
I'll play it on PC.
I'll do that for you.
I know it's cool. We're all going to play it on PC. The problem is that everybody's playing it on console right now, so I'm way behind. I've only played a few hours, not even on an account that I own. So it's like, and I loved it. I thought it was great, but I'm going to go to this back to this game. Nobody's going to be playing at my level, so I'm going to have to play a single-player campaign, which I think it's great.
Yeah.
It's great that they've given you all these options. I don't know how this game could not be worth $60. I have no idea. I can't believe people are upset about DLC. Like, it's literally worth what you're getting. I'm blowing my mind right now, because this kind of game that's a single-player campaign, maybe 10, 15 hours, is also $60. And Destiny is infinite content, but this is not. This is limited. So, I don't know. I'm not.
$50.
I think.
Oh, Shadowmoor is 50? Oh, wow, that's pretty fucking good.
I think again the core of it is, well, maybe not the core of it, but I think, and I brought this up before, is we're kind of in a paradigm shift in game development, starting with around the Xbox 360 and to a degree the PS2, although most of those attempts were horrible. 360 kind of kicked off this very cinematic approach to game design, which is we're going to have a narrative, you're going to have a game sort of in there, but you'll have level cutscene, level cutscene, level cutscene. We're going to hire an Oscar writer, and we're going to have Kevin Spacey doing the VO, and we're going to have motion capture from Guillermo del Toro, and it's just like, I'm a Guillermo del Toro. But none of this, like, along the way, the games didn't get very fun for a very, very long time there. Like, Assassin's Creed games are not very fun to play anymore.
I mean, like, they're okay.
I'm playing 4, and like it's fun to sail around.
Yeah, I like the ship.
And the ship combat's okay, but any ship battle, you do the same thing. Like you go broadside, I'm okay. Now my guns recharge. It's seriously waiting for cooldowns and hitting all your guns as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And then grinding out upgrades. Like that's an MMO, and that's boring. And like the story's dumb. But you know what it has? A lot of bullshit. Like there's a lot of icons on the map. Each one of them is kind of different. So it really tricks you into thinking you're getting something valuable.
But the coolest thing about Destiny versus Assassin's Creed, Destiny has a character you can use later on other things.
That's true, yeah.
Against other real life people, whereas Assassin's Creed doesn't have that. So that's, for me, that's the way I always felt like whenever I was playing Assassin's Creed. You're right, it's repetitive. And I feel like I'm not doing anything that I need. Like I'm like, oh, I unlocked new sword. Like
Yeah,
who gives
exactly.
a shit? Like I'm not going to use this sword later other than to kill other AI players.
But
so,
it's Yeah.
Destiny, at least you get these guns, you can try them out against more people.
And then it's just been that trend for the last, I want to say the last 6 or 7 years to have games just give you more, like more cinematic presentation, longer, more exploding cutscenes, more missions, a bigger open world with just icons all over the place. And you open that stuff up and you're like, man, this game's big. I got a really good deal. But that's not what makes a game fun or good to play. And so then you have a game like Titanfall, which is like, we're going to focus on the mechanics. We're going to have 8 to 10 maps. It's going to cost you $60. Just going to be really fun to play.
Yeah.
How many maps? Yeah, 3. Yeah, 3. Why just 3? Well, because we got a normal one, a fast one, and a slow one.
Yeah.
They could have made 10, but they would all kind of be the same.
Well, and they, you're right though, Lawrence. They managed expectations with Titanfall.
Yeah.
They told everybody what it would be before it came out. So like when you bought it, you couldn't be like, "Where's my single player?" You should have known at that point.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, I feel like in terms of like hype and reception, people are like, "Oh, everybody forgot about Titanfall." No, everybody's just quietly playing it and having fun.
Yeah.
There may not be a lot to talk about because there's not a narrative to discuss or something like that.
Yeah.
I think what we're seeing is there are people that grew up playing these kinds of games, and now the trend is shifting away from them. It's shifting back towards gameplay focused, maybe content restrained, and by restrained I mean not the Ubisoft map full of bullshit